Okay, so welcome everyone to the Zoom room. If you're on the live stream, welcome. Elaine, welcome again to this live session. Let's dive into our email for today. There's a quote, a teaching around that. So let me share my screen with you. If you can read that that headline quote, which is a quote from the text of the course.
Yeah. It starts with you. When you are willing to accept sole responsibility for the ego's existence, you will have laid aside all anger and all attack, because they come from an attempt to project responsibility for your own errors.
Yeah, very profound quote. You're willing to accept sole responsibility for the ego's existence. So no one else, I can't blame anyone else. It's the ego is my belief. The ego is the belief in separation. So the belief in separation existence is my responsibility because I believe in it. Kind of self-evident statement, isn't it? If I believe in it, then yes, it's my responsibility. That believing it is my responsibility. If I don't believe it, then I'm taking the true responsibility, spiritual responsibility, which will help me to let go of all anger, attack, thoughts which come from an attempt to project responsibility for your own errors. So what the ego says is, I'm not the guilty one. Someone else is guilty. Look at the descent into hell. I'm not the guilty one. Even though I feel the guilt, no, someone else is guilty. So I project the guilt onto someone else, and that's what attack is. Accusation, blame, and attack in any form is an attempt to project the guilt that you feel for separating from your source onto someone else and say, well, they are now to blame and they are going to be punished. God is going to punish them and not me. That's the very childish mechanism the ego's invented to replace the truth. So the quote's a wonderful reminder to free yourself from the destructive effects of anger and attack. You must take responsibility for your own errors without making exceptions by projecting that responsibility onto others. So what the ego is always trying to get you to do is to project responsibility onto others and say, no, it's not me. I didn't do it. You did it. So I'm off the hook. In other words, I'm not guilty and I'm not going to be punished by God. That's the delusion. You are. It's an attempt to offload the guilt and the punishment for guilt onto someone else, which the ego tells you is going to work, but actually all it does is reinforce the guilt and the sin, because the more you give something, the more you're saying that I have lots of it to give. So you're giving guilt all the time in the form of accusation, blame, complaint, and attack in any form. That guilt is confirmed in your mind. It becomes more real. So that's why that strategy doesn't work, which is what he's pointing out here in the quote. All of this anger and attack comes from an attempt to project responsibility for your own errors onto someone else. In fact, all temptation is nothing more than the temptation to make exceptions to this fundamental rule. No, I'm not responsible, someone else is. No, you are responsible. And the ego says, no, you're not. Someone else is to blame. Your ego or belief in separation will always tempt you to do this, because it knows that if you stop projecting your responsibility for your own state of mind onto others and the world, you must recognize that no matter what seems to be done to you in this world, you're always hurting yourself. And will do the only sane thing you can do by choosing to let go of this belief that is the true cause of all of your problems and pain in all their seemingly different forms. So no matter what seems to be done to you, how much you're tempted to project your guilt, actually you're just hurting yourself. You hurt yourself. When you attack others, you hurt yourself again. So the only sane solution to this, self-harm that the ego specializes in is choosing to let go of the belief in separation. That's the true cause of all your problems and your pain. In all their seemingly different forms. So there's a great talk on this, which you can listen to, 14-minute TED talk by I think he's a psychologist or a psychiatrist, and he's talking about this idea of projection from a Jungian perspective. So Carl Jung, famous Swiss psychiatrist, understood maybe more so than any other psychologist or psychiatrist that the mind projects, and that this mechanism of projection was responsible for a whole lot of our delusions, and encouraged people to go within and really look at the cause. What is the causes in your own mind projecting it. So watch that. It's got some concepts, ideas very much in alignment with the course. You'll see how similar at a high level, something like Jung's theory. And
I've watched some of it. Yeah, I did watch some of it.
Yeah.
Still got a bit. Yeah, didn't quite finish it.
Yeah, definitely worth watching a couple of times, because he's talking about exactly these principles of projection and taking full responsibility, which is really, we discussed it the other day. That is where the rubber meets the road in any spiritual practice or path. Is, do you take responsibility or not? Are you still projecting it onto others, or do you take 100% responsibility for whatever happens? And 100% responsibility is the very essence of any kind of spiritual transformation. You have to take 100% responsibility in order to free yourself from the delusions. And that's, whether you're doing spiritual practices or not, if you do that, you take 100% responsibility, then you are on a spiritual path. We talked about Roger Federer, no formal spiritual practice, but he did take responsibility for his mental and emotional state. So that is a spiritual practice. And then his tennis and his life became a spiritual practice, because he practiced taking that responsibility. And I'm sure it wasn't easy at first, but as he practiced, he got better and eventually became this very cool, calm, serene master who couldn't be shaken. I never saw him get upset. So when you understand that the people who trigger negative thoughts and emotions, any of those, to arise in you are really the mirror showing you these repressed thoughts and emotions and the beliefs that underlie them. In other words, your own shadow or your ego. You become empowered to let them go rather than reinforce them by trying to project onto others in an attempt to get rid of your guilt. So you're making them rather than you guilty. So this is what you've done. It's what the ego teaches us to do, but he's saying you need to stop that. To stop this projection mechanism. It should be self-evident. The more you give someone anything, the more you're reinforcing its apparent existence in your own mind. Because you cannot give what you don't believe in. Therefore, projecting your guilt in the form of blaming someone else or your distress will only reinforce and perpetuate the negative effects of that guilt in your mind and in your whole life. See this cycle of negativity. Those negative effects of guilt include fear. Logical next step, I fear punishment, anger. You don't want to be punished, you feel it's unjust. So conflict, sickness, death, all other negative thoughts. Negative thoughts are thoughts that negate. So we consider negative thoughts, emotions, and conditions that negate or deny love's beneficent presence. The Holy Spirit, or moments of perfect love, can reinterpret this projection mechanism of the ego, which is its primary defense, to help you recognize the ego's false beliefs in yourself and free yourself from them by letting go of all their effects. Whenever you experience them. If you keep doing this without making exceptions, you just can't fail to free yourself from all pain and suffering and ultimately death itself and become fully enlightened. So you must ultimately succeed in undoing the ego. Okay, so in discussion now, any questions about projection?
No, that's clear.
How you can use it to free yourself. I think, a very key point, and we've talked about this before, I'll mention again, is the mechanism of defense. The primary ego mechanism of defense is projection. So it's all been projected out of our minds. We've literally gone out of our minds. We now see the world and bodies, primary ego defense. But that same mechanism of defense can be used by the Holy Spirit to undo the ego, because through the projection as a defense mechanism, the ego reveals itself. You get triggered. And now when the trigger comes in, you get the opportunity to really look at it, be aware of it. Okay, yeah, I've been triggered. I can feel the emotion. I can notice those thoughts, but I'm doing it from a calm, clear, space. I'm doing it with the Holy Spirit's guidance. And that means you must ultimately succeed in undoing the ego. Okay, so any questions on that?
No, that's fine. Yeah, that's clear.
Okay, so go into our lesson then. So on to lesson 236, and I think let's do the it's quite a short section of text today. So maybe let's do the insert. So if you can read that for us. This is insert 2, which is the start of the series of 10 lessons, and answers the question, what is salvation? Or translated, what is awakening?
Yeah.
All right, I'm going to read it in the alternative.
Awakening is a promise made by pure formless awareness of perfect love that I would find my way to it at last. It can only be kept. It guarantees that time will end, and all the thoughts that have been born in time will end as well. Perfect love's message is given to every mind which thinks that it has a separate thoughts and will replace these thoughts of conflict with the thought of peace.
Okay, so thoughts on that? What's he saying in summary?
Yeah, just the awakening is promised by the pure formless awareness, and it's guaranteed that time will end, and that all thoughts will have been born in time and will end as well. So it's perfect love's message given to every mind who thinks it's got separate thoughts. And these thoughts will be replaced with thoughts of peace.
Yeah, thought of peace, so it's capitalized. A thought of peace it comes when you identify with this awareness. When you identify yourself as pure formless awareness and you go into that awareness. That's the thought of peace he's talking about, which replaces all the other thoughts of conflict related to this world. So can you just go within and let go and go into the pure formless awareness of perfect love and enjoy the peace? Or will you stay in illusions and believe in the conflict that this world is designed to engender? They're pointing us to peace, and that's what these inserts in the text in part 2 of the workbook are designed to do. The shorter, sweeter, really pointing us to an experience. So we start getting experiential understanding of what he's talking about in our own experience. They're meant to be read, contemplated, meditated on. So they bring in into your experience what they're pointing to. When you start experiencing peace, you're not wondering anymore what the thought of peace is because you're in it. You're experiencing it. Okay. I'm happy to move on to number 2. If you want to read number 2 for us.
Mm-hmm. The thought of peace was given to perfect love's extension the moment that the mind had thought of war. There was no need for such a thought before, for peace was given without opposite and merely was. But when the mind is seemingly split, there is a need for healing. So the thought that has the power to heal the split became a part of every fragment of the mind that still was one, but failed to recognize its oneness. Now it did not know itself and thought its own identity was lost.
So what's he saying in that one?
It's just about the thought of peace, and it was given to all of us. But as soon as we started thinking of war and all the negative stuff, the mind split, and so therefore needed healing from this perfect love's extension. And this thought is the power to heal the split mind, get back to its oneness. Yeah.
Thought of peace is the remembrance of perfect love, saying there's still perfect love, perfect oneness. It's there for you. It hasn't really changed. Forget the illusion. Forget everything that you've invented that's taking you away from that peace. None of it's true. So the thought that has the power to heal the split became a part of every fragment of the mind that still was one but failed to recognize its oneness. So that thought is the remembrance of perfect love that remembers perfect love, pure formless awareness, the peace it brings. And the memory of that state then calls you back to that state. But you don't know that state fully because you've separated from it, and now you have all this other stuff going on in your life, but that is still there. So as we discussed, yesterday, the Course is saying, well, it's already there. You don't have to go looking for it. Just look within your own mind. You don't look outside of you. Just look within your own mind. Now it did not know itself and thought its own identity was lost. So we split our mind. Let's go back to our diagram just to show that. Tiny mad idea of separation split our mind, caused us to believe in this other identity called an ego or consciousness or belief in separation, Satan or the universal mind, any names for it. But it's a delusion. It's all a product of a false thought. So whatever comes from a false thought cannot be true. This is what Yeshua is saying. So the moment that we split, we decided that tiny mad idea of separation was a good idea, and we wanted it, and we wanted to believe in it, was the moment that the thought of peace, which is the Holy Spirit's awareness, reminds us that irrespective of what happens here in the crazy dream, peace is still there. Peace is still true. And that's the reinterpretation that the Holy Spirit does, and that will ultimately undo the ego, because you're taking 100% responsibility, saying, well, I'm perceiving these things because of my idea of separation. So this is my idea of separation playing out. These are the effects. I go back to the source to find the cause, which is the blue arrows. Okay, so any other thoughts, comments, or questions on number 2? Happy with that?
Yeah, happy with that.
Number 3 then.
Awakening is undoing in the sense that it does nothing, failing to support the world of dreams and malice. So it lets illusions go. By not supporting them, it merely lets them go into nothingness quietly. And what they hide is now revealed, the foundation to the whole identity of perfect love, on which its message is written with the gifts of my letting go laid before it, and the memory of perfect love not far behind.
So what's he saying in this one?
Just awakening is the undoing, but in the other sense, it doesn't need to do anything. It just doesn't need to support what's going on in the dreams and the suffering and the malice. Not to support them, just let them go and into the nothingness that they are quietly.
Lets them quietly go, shall we say, quietly go into nothingness. So that's a lovely phrase, really. Just quietly go into nothingness, just drifts away. And like a cloud, I use that cloud analogy sometimes in meditations. It's quite a nice one. Because you don't fight a cloud. Fighting a cloud is ridiculous. You can't.
Yeah.
You just observe it, and it comes and it goes, and you recognize its ephemeral nature. It's not substantial. It's not real. It's passing. There's nothing to it, really. So you just let it flow on. Okay, the cloud's there, seems to obscure the sun for a bit, and then cloud passes away, and the sky and the sun, really remain unaffected by the clouds. Truth be told, from your perspective on Earth, the cloud seems to obscure the sun, and the cloud seems to obscure the sky. But you go above the cloud, they have no effect at all. The reality of the sky and the sun are still there. And that's kind of how it is. That's a good analogy in spiritual terms. The sky is your pure formless awareness of perfect love. The sun is the source. So a bright blue sky with the sun shining through it is like the source radiating through your awareness, which is unaffected by the clouds close to Earth because it's in another order of reality. You see, from our perspective on Earth, it seems like the clouds can obscure the sky and the sun, but actually they remain unaffected completely. So my job is to go above those clouds by recognizing their illusory nature and fly freely in the sky. This is maybe the reason why you've had flying dreams, because it's like, well, it's a symbol of freedom. When you fly, you're free of the earth. It's about freedom. It feels liberating. You're in space. The sky is just space. There's nothing there really but space. So you're in the spacious awareness, which is an approximation in this world to eternity, because eternity is infinite. So it's the ultimate spacious awareness. And you get a glimpse of it here in your perception of spacious awareness in this world. Okay, so what's he saying in number 3?
I've just already mentioned it, haven't I? I've already summarized it.
Okay, you happy with that?
Yeah.
This doesn't support them, lets them go. What they hid is now revealed. Foundation to the whole identity of perfect love, which its message is written with the gift to my letting go and before, in memory of perfect love, not far behind. So not a complicated message. Again, he's just saying, let it all go. Don't support these illusions, and let them go into the nothingness they really are. And then what they hid will now be revealed. An altar to the holy name of God, that's the original. So we translate as a foundation to the whole identity of perfect love. Altar to the holy name of God, foundation to the whole identity of perfect love, whereon his word is written, on which its message is written, the gifts of my letting go laid before it, and the memory of perfect love not far behind. And so this is the alternate to dreams of fear and believing in illusions. You believe in the whole truth, and the truth is still true. Okay, so let's move on to number 4.
Let us come daily to this holy aware place and spend a while together. Here we share our final dream. It is a dream in which there is no sorrow, for it holds a hint of all the magnificence given to us by perfect love. The grass is pushing through the soil, the trees are budding now, and birds have come to live within their branches. Earth is being born again in a new perspective. The belief in separation's limited awareness has gone, and we have come together in the light of pure formless awareness.
Okay. What's he saying in that one?
Where we all arrive at this holy aware place and spend time together while the world is born again into magnificence of perfect love, and giving the analogy of grass coming through and budding, and the birds are on their branches, and
this is just to refer to your conversation with your client.
Mm-hmm.
Well, this is where she's getting the idea that it's going to be heaven on earth from.
Yeah.
But what she would fail to understand is that it's not the ultimate state, not the ultimate destination.
Mm.
The happy dream is transitory. It's part of the awakening process. It's necessary, because if you're unhappy, then you're certainly not awakening. So the happy dream is part of it at one moment, but it's very temporary. It's not going to last for very long. It'll last for as long as you have a body in this life, which in the grand scheme of time is not very long at all. Maybe how old you are, 10, 20, 30, 40 years, and then it's over. That's a blink of an eye in all of time, given time's been going for, they say, 14 billion years. It's nothing. It's like in the span of 14 billion years, it's a nanosecond. So while you're in that nanosecond, and it seems to take a while to play itself out, you may as well be happy and enjoy the dream. This is what he's talking about, the happy dream.
Mm.
Dream which has no sorrow. Final dream holds a hint of all the glory or the magnificence given to us by perfect love. Grass is pushing through the soil, trees are budding now, birds have come to live within their branches. So again, using the analogy of spring, because spring is new life. Spring brings hope and life, and so this is now in our new awareness, this is the kind of life we live. And so Earth is born again, a new Earth comes into being. It's born a new perspective. It's a new perception. That's all that happens. The external world doesn't have to change much, just your perception of it changes. And that's what many people don't understand. It's not about changing the form, changing your perception of it. Once you change your perception, the world which exists in your mind has changed. You've got a very different experience of the world, and it's just a shift in perception. And that's how you can change the world in an instant. You change your perception of it. Even separation is limited awareness is gone, and we've come together in light of pure formless awareness. So pointing us just to a very happy dream and saying, well, this is the best you can do, enjoy it. But don't linger here. Don't think that this is the final outcome. And that's the mistake she was making. Oh, well, that's going to be the final outcome of this process of at-one-ment. No, the final outcome is you back in heaven. You're in the state of pure formless awareness, of perfect love, and you rest in that for all eternity. That's the final outcome. What she's saying is, it's going to happen. If you surrender and you let go and trust, then it's inevitable. It will happen. Okay. Any other thoughts on number 4?
No, it's a nice paragraph. Very encouraging.
Yeah, and no reason why you shouldn't be happy, enjoy these experiences, but there's no attachment to the dream. Okay, so it might be in nature, he's referring to nature. Appreciate it, but I'm not attached to it. I don't believe it's my ultimate reality. I know that I'm going away. I'm ultimately going to leave the whole place behind, and while I'm here, I might as well enjoy the rest of the ride. Experience a happy dream more than an unhappy one, because well, those are the choices. So why would you choose to be unhappy?
Mm, mm,
Make any sense?
mm.
Okay, so he says, from here, we give salvation to the world. So
I
read that in the
awaken
alternative.
I awaken the world with this awareness, for it is this awareness that has awoken me. The song of my rejoicing is the call to the whole world that freedom is returned. Time is almost over, and perfect love's extension has only a moment more to wait until its source is remembered. Dreams are over. Eternity has shined away the world, and only the state of pure formless awareness now exists at all.
So thoughts on that? What's in your
Well, finally, when we come to this awareness, then eternity shines away the world, and the only thing that's left is the state of pure formless awareness, and that's it.
Yeah, so he's pointing us to the ultimate destination. So don't get stuck in time and thinking that the happy dream, as nice as it may be, is the ultimate outcome, because it's not. The ultimate outcome is you leave the world behind. Only a moment more to wait until its source is remembered. Dreams are over. Eternity has shined away the world, and only the state of pure formless awareness now exists at all. So the entire world of illusion is going to just disappear in your awareness. There will be no world, because it never really existed. And from our perspective as human beings, that seems impossible. Well, how can it just disappear? Because it seems to be so real, but it's just a dream. In the same way as you dream a dream at night, and you wake up, and where's the dream? It's disappeared, isn't it? It's gone.
Yep.
In the same way, we just had another version of a dream. When we wake up from this dream, it will disappear. It will just be gone, because it never was real. And our true reality will be this eternal, pure formless awareness, perfect love. And nothing else. That's what he's pointing us to. Okay, so yeah, a nice insert. Again, you're supposed to read that every day, so I hope you've been doing it. It's just 5 short paragraphs. Kind of sets the scene nicely for the lesson of the day, which is why I suggested you read it. So that brings us to the lesson 236, which we'll have a look at. So you can read this for us, Elaine, the original, the alternative version, please.
I rule my mind, which I alone must rule. Or I control my thoughts, which I alone must control.
So I think the translation makes it a bit more practical. What does ruling your mind mean? Well, as you control your thoughts. That's what it means. And I alone am responsible for that. So the taking of 100% responsibility is related to this. So I chose the quote, because I alone must control it. It's up to me to control or not control my thoughts. Yes, I can ask for guidance. I can ask the Holy Spirit for help, but it's a decision I have to make. Say, okay, well then, show me, use me, guide me, help me to let go of these thoughts that are not helpful. Because those thoughts bring the ego's reality seemingly to life, and your experience and your awareness, your experience, and then they manifest in your life. So it's absolutely essential that you follow his advice in the lesson. You must control your thoughts, and all spiritual practices are really an attempt to help you do that. Whether it's meditation or breath work or cognitive behavioral therapy, many techniques. It's an attempt to control your thoughts. Mind control. So mind training leads to mind control. You can control your thoughts. So it's not to say you'll never have any negative thoughts, but you learn to control them. Well, then you say, well, what does control mean? Control means you choose consciously which ones you allow and which ones you let go of. That's what it means. So controlling your thoughts positively means that you have to get very good at letting go of those thoughts that don't serve you, that are negative. Even if you're handing it over to spirit, that's a decision you have to make, isn't it? To say, okay, I'm handing it over. I'm asking for guidance. I'm opening up my mind. That's a mind control process when you do that. So, every spiritual practice is really a form of mind control, using different techniques.
Can I just take this call from Dave? I'll just be 2 minutes.
Yeah. Okay. Unmute yourself. Okay, let's Okay, Elaine, are you back? You're still on your call.
I love, bye. Yeah, I'm back now. Just catching up, just to make sure he'd arrived to his destination. Right.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. So let's go back to where were we? 236. Okay, so I have a kingdom I must rule.
Yeah. So I must control my state of
Read
Oh,
the
you want-
original and then read the translator, because
Oh,
there's quite a
okay.
lot of translation.
I have kingdom I must rule. I must control my state of mind. At times,
That's what I have a kingdom I must rule means. Yeah? I must control my state of mind.
yeah.
This makes it much more practical.
At times, it does not seem I am its king at all. At times, it does not seem I am the master of my mind at all. It seems to triumph over me and tell me what to think and what to do and feel. And it seems to triumph over me and tell me what to think, to do and feel. And yet it has been given to me to serve whatever purpose I perceive in it. And yet I must serve whatever purpose I perceive in it. My mind can only serve this purpose. Today I give the service to the Holy Spirit to employ as he sees fit. Today I allow the remembrance of perfect love to use it as it sees fit. I thus direct my mind, which I alone can rule. In this way, I direct my mind, which I alone can control. And thus I set it free to do the will of God. And so I set it free to be guided by pure formless awareness, perfect love alone.
Yeah, so thoughts on that? The translation work, I think it makes it a lot more practical.
Yeah. Well, it's just about the state of how we are alone can control our own minds, but at times it does feel impossible. It seems to take over. And the lesson's trying to tell us that, from today, we can allow the perfect love to use the mind as it sees fit, not the other way around. So we are guided by the pure formless awareness of perfect love alone.
Yeah, so control of the mind is letting go of thoughts and emotions that don't serve you and handing it over. And so I set it free to be guided by pure formless awareness of perfect love alone. That's the will of God. So that deeper awareness now guides my words, my thoughts, my actions, and it's now really living my life. It's awareness is guiding everything, and that's the ultimate control. You brought it under divine control, but it's an act of your own will. You have to consciously choose that and choose to let go of the ego that blocks it. So that's why the lesson today is, I must control my state of mind. I have responsibility for managing my own thoughts and emotions, and that is a responsibility most people don't take. Most people are victims of the world because they made them so, and their mind is at the mercy of outside forces. Whatever seems to happen then disturbs them, and they blame the external world. Well, I'm upset because this happened. This person did this, or said this, or didn't do this, or didn't say this. Or maybe it's the weather that upsets them, or it's just endless things that can upset them. So they're not taking the responsibility for controlling their mind. They're letting the illusion control their mind. And that's how it maintains its hold. As long as you allow illusions to dictate your internal state, you are at the effect and not at the cause of your mind. So if we look at integral model, see that clearly. Just make it a bit bigger. So most people in this world believe causation lies here in the objective world. So I'm upset because something happened in the world that I perceive that is adverse, it's not good, and so that's what upset me. Yeshua is teaching us that no, actually it's your own ego, your own belief in separation, which it's a collection of thoughts and emotions that's upsetting you. And that is what's projected this out. Now you've had this adverse situation projected out by your ego. And so what's really causing it is the ego. And this is just the projection or manifestation of it, which seems to be real outside of you, that is designed to feed back into the ego mind and say, yes, this is now real. So the thought system that projected it now gets confirmation, the external, that it's real, feeds it back, and it's a closed loop system. And that system of perception and projection is the nature, the essence really of the illusion. To undo it, we must take 100% responsibility and say, I can't blame the external world. It's actually me. I've projected it. This is my responsibility because what I'm seeing is a projection of my mind. And then I perceive it from my mind. So the whole thing is a mental experience. I projected and I perceived it. So this is my own reality. How can I blame anyone else? I made it up. That's 100% responsibility, which then starts to give you control of your mind. You're now taking control of the individual interior I, the subjective self, which is where your identity lies. So you're starting to control that. You're starting to let go of the belief that you can be affected by anything else. And ultimately this is where your salvation lies. Awakening comes when you know who you are 100%. There's no illusion left. You're completely rooted in the truth of who you are, which is pure formless awareness of perfect love. That state becomes a constant state. So samadhi, you stay in these very high states, and there is really no need for any of the projection perception anymore. So that's where he's trying to take us. So just starting to take responsibility for your mental and emotional state is a significant step in that direction, because it's moving the locus of control from the external world, which means that you're always going to be a victim of a world apparently outside of you and therefore separate from it. And it starts moving the locus of control within, saying, no, it's actually me who's in control. If I believe I'm a victim, then that's a belief. It's not the external world that's making me a victim. It's my own mind. And the external world just confirms what I believe. And so that's the 100% responsibility. I'm responsible for my mental and emotional state. And it's irrespective of whatever has happened or not happened. I'm responsible for my state. And if you do that, you start taking that responsibility, that is a spiritual practice and a path. And that will, if you carry on doing that, that will ultimately awaken you. Because 100% responsibility for your mental emotional state will take you back into the highest states of mind, peace, love, and joy. Because you recognize you can choose those. And you can choose to remain in them as well. Okay, so that makes sense? Let's go back to kingdom I must rule. So he's talking about a state of mind. He's actually talking, the kingdom I must rule, he's talking about one of the quadrants in modern language. He's talking about the interior I quadrant, upper left quadrant on the integral model. That's the kingdom you must rule. The interior self, interior mind. Okay, so happy to move on to number 2, which is a very short prayer.
Yeah. My source, my mind is open only to your thoughts today and closed to every thought except yours. I control my mind and offer it to you. Accept my gift, for it is yours to me.
Yeah, so just a statement of intent, really. The prayer is an affirmation. This is my intention for the day, and I repeat it frequently to remind me that I'm open to your thoughts. So those are, in this world, those thoughts come in different forms, but they're always beneficent. They're always loving. It's about loving. It's kindness. It's helpful for you and others. There's those kinds of thoughts that he's asking us to think. Thoughts of trying to bless and heal and help others and yourself, rather than project guilt onto them, attack them, blame them, fear them. And it's a profoundly different way to live your life if you do. Okay, so yeah, any thoughts on that short prayer or on the lesson?
Yeah, no, it's a nice, encouraging lesson. Very good.
Yeah, it's meant to just, these are affirmations. The prayers are affirmations of your intentions. So you state them. That's why we suggest you state them aloud, because it becomes an affirmation of your intent. And as you state it and you speak it, it becomes manifest and real, doesn't it?
It does.
Okay, so my source, my mind is open. So shall we open our minds to source in a meditation?
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, good idea.
Yeah, can you hear the dogs barking? I've got
No
dogs.
problem. Not
You
a problem.
You can't really hear them.
No.
Eh? Okay, amazing.
No.
Obviously not picking them up. Just give me a moment. I'm gonna go downstairs and see if I can
Yeah, no rush.
calm them down. Because I don't know what they're barking at.
Yeah, no rush. Yeah, no problem.
Take 2 minutes and then we'll do the med.
Yep, that's great.
All right. Elaine, you there?
Yep, I'm here.
Sorry about that. There seemed to be an intruder in the property.
Oh, snap.
What's going on? If it was South Africa, I would have been really worried, but he was actually just dropping off some building stuff.
Oh,
So of course the dogs were doing their job and going ballistic because he was sitting around in the sort of, well, got a whole construction zone going on where they're building a indoor swimming pool and stuff. So
right. And they
we're
came
like,
into
"There's
your.
an intruder in our property. We've got to do something about it."
Oh, well, so it's a bit like me last night in the middle of the night. We had a couple of intruders. How bizarre.
Yeah.
Oh, well.
Yeah. Isn't it interesting how synchronicity works?
I know, yes. How strange.
And
So they've gone now.
Before you had a jet dream, and then I saw a
Yeah. How
Air Force
bizarre.
jet flying over.
It's all bizarre. Yeah.
It's a shared dream. It's a shared dream.
We're all in this.
Yeah.
If that's showing us that we're all here in this dream.
Dreaming the same dream, and the dream is interconnected.
Yeah.
Related, your dream and someone else's dream are not separate.
Well, no private thoughts. Very true with that one. I do certainly believe in that. Yeah.
It's one mind, really, dreaming the dream.
Yeah.
Your little, narrow perspective, the ego's narrow perspective of the dream cannot be reality. It's not the whole picture by any means.
Of course, yes. Which I'm slowly, starting to see that, but it's again, work in progress. So
That's called awakening. It's a process.
Yeah.
Awakening is a process. It doesn't happen overnight. But as long as you're in the process and it's happening, then
all good. Yeah.
Going in the right direction. You're on the right path. That's all you need to
be
concerned about.
Yeah.
Okay, so shall we do a meditation on this?
Yeah, that'll be good.
Lesson, and then we've got some text. It's about 6 paragraphs. So
yeah, that's good.
All right, so just okay, so some meditation. Oh, someone's joined us. Who's that? John.
Oh, great. We've got the support again. Comes in at the right time.
Yeah, it's good timing.
Yeah.
Hi, John. Can you hear us?
Hi, John. Hi, Elaine.
Hi, John.
Yeah, welcome. I saw you join last night, but we'd already finished.
Okay.
Early. It was an afternoon session, so
it was indeed. Yeah.
But I always just put the timers on the group. So
you did. You did.
Yeah, great. Welcome. We're just about to do a meditation on the lesson, and then we'll go to the text.
Okay, great.
Do you want to do that?
Yep.
So the lesson's all about controlling your mind. I'll read it to you and do it as an affirmation. So speak it out loud to make it even more powerful. Okay, so just making yourself comfortable. Sitting, your feet shoulder width apart, your back straight, and cup your hands in your lap. Close your eyes and start off by taking a nice deep breath in through the nose. Breathing in, noticing how the stomach rises and the chest rises. And subtle flow of air in through the nostrils. You clench your sphincter muscle to lock the energy in. Feel this warm wave of energy rising up. your spine into the heart center. Put one hand on your heart. Bring your attention into the heart center. Draw it up into the crown of your head. Pausing at the top of the inhale. So it's a maximal inhale breath. So just scan your mind at the top of the inhale. Notice any thoughts, emotions, related body sensations going on. Particularly anything that feels negative, limiting, contracted, constricting, unpleasant in any way. And use today's lesson as the antidote to that. So I control my thoughts. I rule my mind, which I alone must rule. It's the original alternative version of it. Here's I control my thoughts, which I alone must control. And so those thoughts that are not serving you, thoughts of fear, anxiety, anger, attack thoughts, blaming, judging, these are not thoughts that serve you. So just choose to let them go now. Breathe in a deeper awareness, a higher awareness of the truth. Pure formless awareness, perfect love. Breathe it into every pore, every cell, every muscle of your body, every part of your mind, every fiber of your being is in this light of true awareness. I control my thoughts, which I alone must control. So choose to let them go, blow them away. All the negative thoughts negate the truth. They block your true awareness. They block out peace and love and joy. Seem to assert another reality that denies the eternal love, peace, and joy that you really are. So blow them away like dark clouds. Clouds cannot really obscure the sky or the sun that lies beyond them. It's from a human perspective, looking from the earth, you look up at a dense cloud bank. It seems that the sky and the sun are obscured, but they continue unaffected beyond the cloud bank. They're still there. You just can't see them. So that's the situation with our minds that are being governed by the ego. Cloud bank seems to be the reality. It seems to obscure the light of our source and spacious awareness of our true mind, our true awareness, symbolized by the sky and the sun in the analogy. But those remain, they continue on unaffected by the cloud bank. They are there irrespective. So just let go of the clouds, blow them away, the breeze of your breath, the nothingness they really are, going, gone. You just let them go. You can't fight clouds. You just let them go. Allow them to just pass away. They just drift on by. There's nothing substantial about them. They're illusions. You go through a cloud bank. It's not solid. It's vaporous. Just a mist or the fog guess you'll call it, of the ego's thoughts and emotions. And so just blow that fog or mist away with the breeze of your breath, letting it all go to the nothingness that it really is. It's going, gone. And so you've just done a basic mind control exercise. Control your thoughts, which you alone must control. It's a choice. So breathing in again, nice deep full inhale breath, and you're going to listen to me read a couple of short paragraphs of this lesson. And then as I pause, you exhale out through your nose and speak the words as affirmations of the truth. So breathing in. You listen. So I have a kingdom I must rule. I must control my state of mind. Translated. I must control my state of mind. Exhale out through the nose. So let that idea sink in. Pause at the bottom of the exhale. Breathing in again. Deep inhale breath. Blow up the stomach. Like a balloon, raising the energy up. Spine into your heart center. And on up into crown of your head. You pause. Pause at the top of the inhale. You smile. So at times it does not seem I'm the master of my mind at all. Exhale, you repeat those words out loud. Does not seem I'm the master of my mind at all. At times, breathe in again. It seems to triumph over me and tell me what to think and do and feel. Exhale out through the nose. It seems to triumph over me. Tell me what to think, do, and feel. Breathing in again. And yet I must serve whatever purpose I perceive in it. My mind can only serve this purpose. And then again, so today I allow the remembrance of perfect love to use it as it sees fit. Surrender my mind to remembrance of perfect love. Say that, I surrender my mind to remembrance of perfect love to use as it sees fit. And in this way, as you breathe in again, I direct my mind, which I alone can control. Breathe in again, and so I set it free to be guided by pure formless awareness of perfect love alone. Breathe in again. Deep breath in, breathe in the source, address the source of your own mind. Say, my source, my mind, is open only to your thoughts today. And closed to every thought except yours. Repeat those words. My mind is open only to your thoughts today. And closed to every thought except yours. Breathe in. I control my mind and offer it to you. You exhale, make that offering, surrendered offering. You're letting go and you're trusting life to give you everything you need. And then again, through the nose. Set the seal on the prayer by saying, accept my gift. What is yours to me? And you repeat those words, feel that acceptance in your heart and your mind, and breathe it in on your next inhale. It's embracing this. You give the gift, you surrender your mind to the use of spirit. And let it go. And you sink inwards into the kingdom Yeshua talks about. The kingdom you must rule. That kingdom is your mind. In integral terms, it's the upper left quadrant, the individual interior domain of your thoughts and emotions, memories, states of mind, perceptions, immediately experienced sensations, interior I, subjective self. So the kingdom you must rule. And you started doing that by controlling your thoughts. You must learn to select your thoughts consciously with awareness. And in that way will you attain mastery of the mind, which is absolute control of your mind. The mind cannot waver. So there's nowhere else to go, nothing else to do, nothing else to think about for a couple of minutes. And just breathe, relax, and be still. Sink inwards. Ride the quietness and stillness into a deeper state of peace. It'll take you deeper and deeper with each breath into this calm, quiet, still state of mind without illusions, state of mind in which only the truth is true. And then if any thoughts come up, anything to disturb this deep peace that you notice, you observe it casually like a cloud and you just let it go, let it drift away. And I almost control my mind, which I alone must control. And so I let this go, I blow it away. It's part of my mind controls to let go of unhelpful thoughts and feelings. That entails you let go of years of your life dedicated to misery. So you're not really losing anything, you're freeing your mind. So just blow whatever those thoughts are away like a dark cloud or black smoke, leaving you. It's gone out of your mind, your body, your energy system. And just going deeper and deeper with each breath into the still, calm, quiet, peaceful state beyond the mind, beyond the thoughts in the mind, lies this tranquil state of peace. And so just surrender to that for another minute or two of deep silence. And so just gently coming back in this deep state of awareness and awareness of your body and the breath and the senses and the world. And on the count of 3, you're going to open your eyes. So 1, just breathing in, noticing how the stomach rises and the chest rises. Subtle flow of air in through the nostrils. Pause at the top of the inhale. Scan your mind one more time. Noticing any thoughts going on there. Particularly anything that feels at all unpleasant, negative. Remind yourself the lesson that I must control my thoughts. So I alone must control. Exhale, blow them away. The breeze of your breath. Notice how the air flows out, chest and stomach suck back in. Notice on the count of 2, the weight of your body pressing down into the chair, your feet touching the ground. Notice what you're feeling. Your hands touching. Maybe there's a subtle taste in your mouth. Notice that. Smell in your nose, perhaps. Notice that as you breathe in. And just noticing all of your senses, what you're feeling, tasting, touching, smelling. But from a very peaceful, clear state. So there's no attempt to name or judge or label any of these sense perceptions. You just allow them to be there, and they arise and they kind of pass away like clouds just drifting by. And what remains unaffected is a clear blue sky, which is your true awareness, and the source of that awareness, which is the sun and the analogy, streaming through it, shining through it to light it up. That's what remains. So notice that state of light in you and corresponding peace. Set the intention to stay here in this state for the rest of the session in the evening. We honor your weekend. So it is said, so it is done. And now on the count of 3, you're going to open your eyes. So take a minute just to look around, observing various objects in the room. Focus on one for a few seconds. Notice that this very peaceful, calm awareness that you experience hopefully quite deeply in the meditation is still there in your awareness, just whether your eyes are closed or open. It's there, so you can close your eyes briefly. Notice that awareness, open your eyes, and notice the same awareness. Look at another object. Notice it's exactly the same awareness, nothing's really changed. You open or close your eyes. So look at, say, half a dozen objects just for a few seconds at a time. Eyes open for a second or 2, then closed, and notice truly underlying it that you have the same awareness whether your eyes are closed or open. There's no change in your underlying awareness. So you're starting to identify more with that true awareness, your pure, formless awareness, rather than the level of form, which is always shifting, changing, fluctuating. You can't rely on that. But you can rely on this true awareness, this deeper awareness that always remains the same, never changes. That's why it's reliable. And that is your source. That's your true awareness, pure formless awareness, perfect love, whatever you want to call it. The essence of your life, your awareness itself. And when you're aware of that, then you are in the light or enlightened. So just anchor this awareness and set the intention to stay there once more for the rest of the session on into your evening and the rest of the weekend. So it is said, so it is done. And that brings us to the end of the meditation and the first part of the session. Okay, so I think let's have a look at let's look at today's text reading, which is section 6 of chapter 28, called the Secret Vows. It's 6 paragraphs, I believe, so not too long. Fairly short one tonight. So shall we dive into that?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, John, you want to kick it off with
Yeah.
paragraph 1? I think just reading the alternative isn't really much to translate there.
Who punishes the body is insane. For here the little gap is perceived, and yet it is not here. It has not judged itself, nor made itself to be what it is not. It does not seek to make of pain a joy, and look for lasting happiness in the dust. It does not tell you what its purpose is, and cannot understand what it is for. It does not victimize, because it has no will, no preferences, and no doubts. It does not wonder what it is, and so it has no need to be competitive. It can be victimized, but cannot experience itself as a victim. It accepts no role, but only does what it is told without attack.
Okay, so what's he saying in this one?
Well, he's saying it would be insanity. It would be insane to punish the body because the body is neutral. It doesn't. It's a merely a means of communication. It responds as it is requested. So, but why?
It's a common delusion. People say, oh, my body needs this, or my body wants this, or my body craves this, or so what they're doing is they're giving the body a mind, they're giving the body an intelligence it doesn't have. Really what they're doing is they're projecting their mind into the body and giving the body the property of the mind. You see that? The truth is it's only the mind that is thinking and perceiving all of that. So the body has a receptive mechanism, we call them sensors, which bring in sensory data. So there's certain stimuli, seemingly external, that come in, which then seem to cause our perception. And the body is designed to bring in those sense perceptions, the sensory data, and bring it into the mind where it is interpreted into a perception. But it has to be interpreted. The sensory data alone cannot do anything. It's your perception of them that can do something. And that perception is reliant on emotion, and underneath that, the level of thought, and then beliefs, and then underlying all of that is your desire or prayer. Do you want to be a separate self, a special self, or do you want to be one self united with your true self and the Christ? That's the question. So the sensory data, which the body seems to bring you is actually fairly insignificant in the whole equation, because what's really significant is the perception that you choose to have of it. It's kind of what he's saying here. The body has no mind, it has no will, no preferences, no doubts. It brings in sensory data, right? So you have sense perceptions which come into the mind and then are interpreted. But the mind is always interpreting whatever sense perceptions the body brings you. So it's not really the body's not really doing anything, it's the mind, which is what he's pointing out. The body itself has no will, no preferences, and no doubts. No will, preferences, and doubts. And just it doesn't wonder what it is. It's like a vehicle. A good analogy in this world is a vehicle, a car. It has no will, it has no preferences, it has no doubts. It just does what it's told to do. You point it in a certain direction, you steer the wheel, and that's where it'll go. It has no preference for a destination or a kind of road, or it'll just drive and it'll go where the driver directs it to go. And the body's the same. The driver is obviously the mind. In our analogy, it's your inner self, and then the body follows the driver, as any vehicle does, but it has no will of its own. It can't decide anything. It can't be victimized. Let's say the vehicle crashes. Well, seemingly that's victimizing the vehicle, but the vehicle doesn't experience itself as a victim, so there's no problem. Just is what it is. Okay, now it's dented or bashed or it needs to be fixed. It doesn't have an emotion and go, oh, poor me, I'm now a damaged vehicle. I'm not as good as other vehicles because I'm damaged. And it doesn't do that. It just is as it is. Accepts no role, but only does what it is told without attack. So it's neutral, as dependent on the instructions we give it, which come from the mind. So this is why Yeshua's concentrating his course on mind training, because it's the mind that instructs the body. And the mind's intentions will then inform the body as to what to do and what to feel, even. To think, sensory perceptions are not independent of our mind. As Yeshua was saying, the projection mechanism is like, well, we project out because that's what we want to experience, and then we bring that in and we perceive it from that same perspective, the same thought system and project it out. So it becomes a closed loop. We get stuck in projection perception, seemingly no way out, until we realize that I can change my mind. I can change my perception. So that becomes where the rubber meets the road. That is what undoes the ego. It's the lever that undoes the whole system. You start changing your perception, which is why the focus of the course is all about changing perception. You realize, well, what else can you change? The fixed projections are so coming from subconscious, so very difficult to change those to start with anyway. But you change your perception, changes emotion, thought, belief, and all the way to your core desire. You change that, then it changes the projection. Then you start to get miracles happening, and then it's a positive feedback loop, because the miracle happens, it shows you, reveals itself to you through your perception. You go, oh, so my change of mind worked. Oh, okay, so this thought system based on unity is much better. It's starting to work, and I have more positive emotions and thoughts, and a belief that I'm not a victim, that I'm actually powerful, and I'm truly helpful, and I'm loved, and I'm kind, and I'm peaceful, and I'm joyful. This works a lot better, and the miracle shows you that that's the case.
How about, Jono, that I completely understand this thing, that the body is a means of communication. It's nothing in itself. But it's interesting, isn't it? Well, I think it's interesting that when we experience emotional shock or disturbance, it's often stored in the body.
Trauma, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a negative energy. It gets locked in.
So
But
that's kind of
remember,
like,
it's not really in the body. So we need to correct our perception of the body. The body is a projection of the mind. Body doesn't really exist. It's just an illusory projection that seems to exist. So it's the body is really an energy field, and energy is just projected thought. So really, what's happening is it's energetically there's a negative energy that's got stored in the mind, and because the body is a projection of the mind, that manifests in the body.
yeah.
So it's a different way of thinking about it. It's not stored in the body. It's actually an energy that then expresses in and through the body, which is just a projection of thought or energy.
Yeah.
That's all energy, really. It's just the body doesn't appear to be energy because it appears to be physical, and you can see it and feel it and touch it and taste it and say, okay, well, that's real. But it's just an energy field.
Yeah.
What's energy? Well, energy is just projected thought. So now you've got trauma, negative thoughts that are held in the mind, and then that's projected out into the body mechanism that the mind's attached to. And then you see body symptoms. Okay, well, I got trauma, and then, I experience it as tension, or I experience it as a sickness or an illness coming up, or whatever. Well, that's just the energy expressing itself then through the body, which is the projection of thought. So it's not really stored in the body because there is no body. Do you see how you've got to change your thinking about this? Because there is no body. It's just projected thought. And that projected thought is illusory. It's not real.
Yeah.
Any projection is an unreal, it's based on an unreal idea that you can be separate from your source, which is why the mechanism of projection came about. So it's all unreal, and the Holy Spirit simply looks on all of it and goes, okay, well, you apparently got trauma in the body, but that's just a negative thought. That's just another part of the ego's thought system that's now manifesting in the body. So you can see it. That can be helpful. The body is a useful tool for helping you to become aware of these energies, and then let them go. So, well, this isn't real. So I can let it go. And then as you drop that thought, it releases from your energy system, because energy is projected thought. And because the body is a projection of that same energy, then often the body heals. Because it's like, well, that energy's gone, so it doesn't manifest anymore in and through the body. And then whatever the condition was, the seemingly physical condition disappears miraculously. But if you understand how the mind works, you say, well, it was all just projected thought. Once you let go of the thought and the emotion, which is where we really feel these energies powerfully, then it's gone. So then it no longer has an effect, and it disappears in the projection of thought, which is the body. Is that clear?
Yeah. No, I understand what you're saying. There are instances though where people who do body work certainly seem to heal. The body work can work on the body can seem to heal. Can it heal the mind?
What they're doing is they're helping to release that energy.
Yeah.
So the body workers work energetically. They're working on an energy level, and they help the person to release that energy, which is in the mind. So they just address it. They might deal with it from the body angle of the symptom. They go, okay, well, let's whatever the seeming symptom in the body is, and so we'll try and release that projection of thought through this modality. But it's the same thing, whether you do it through a spiritual practice or mind control or through body work, you're releasing that negative energy, which is just thought and emotion, and so freeing the mind and the body from it.
Yeah, makes
And it
sense.
shows up in the physical as, oh, okay, well, that problem's now gone, the tension's gone, or if there's an illness, it's gone. Wow, it's a miracle. Not really. It's just, if you understand how the mind works and it's all a projection of thought, then if you change your thought, well, yes, it's going to change the projection of that thought, which is the body. So they just work on it from a different angle. Instead of an internal inquiry and saying, okay, well, I'm going to find the thought and the emotion and let it go, they go into the expression of it as that body energy, and they work on that, and they help the client to release that. And a good healer, but through that they're working on the mind. Good healers are like, they're actually helping the person to release that through the modality, but maybe the person doesn't even know that. But there's a letting go that's happening in the session. Does that make sense?
Yes, yeah, it does actually. Yeah, thanks.
Okay, yeah. Any other thoughts on number 1? We'll move to number 2 then. Lane, if you can read that one, please.
I understand it's a senseless point of view to hold responsible for sight a thing that cannot see, and to blame it for the sounds I do not like, although it cannot hear. It doesn't suffer the punishment I give because it has no feeling. It behaves in ways I want, but never makes the choice. It is not born and does not die. It can only follow aimlessly the path on which it has been set. And if that path is changed, it walks another way as easily. It takes no sides and does not judge the road it travels. It perceives no gap because it does not hate. It can be used for hate, but this cannot make it hateful.
So what's he saying in this one?
Well, our sight, our hearing, we can't really hear or see. We can't even feel. So about that little gap again. It perceives no gap because we're all one. And so it doesn't hate, but it can be used for hate, but this cannot make it hateful. It's just an illusion.
It's just a vehicle, so it's a really good way of thinking of it as an analogy in this world is of a vehicle, a car. That could be used to go rob a bank, could be used to go on holiday, could be used to drive across the country, could be used to go shopping. It has no preference, no will. It'll go where the driver tells it to go. And if it's not driven, it'll just stay parked in the garage or outside your house. So you don't drive it for a while. It's not going to have any feelings about that. It's not going to go, oh my God, you're rejecting me, you're abandoning me, I'm not getting the love and attention I want. It doesn't do that. So the body is the same. It has no will of its own. It's just an instrument. It's a vehicle. And all of the intentions or intelligence the body seems to have is given to it by the mind. So it's the mind that then identifies with the body and now perceives itself as the body, that gives the body these apparent functions. It says, oh, well, my body wants this. My body needs this. My body craves this. No, it's the mind believing it's in the body, that it is a body that's doing that. And that's the ego mind. So it's just getting us to see that the body is completely neutral and it's up to us how we use it. That's a decision in the mind, completely independent of the body. And the body will just follow according to the mind's direction. It can only follow aimlessly the path in which it has been set. It has no aim. It says aimlessly because, well, it has no aim of itself.
Yeah.
You know, if the mind is dedicated to illusions, then the body will be used to pursue those, and it will experience accordingly. It will suffer accordingly. And if the mind is dedicated to the truth, and the body is used to pursue only the truth, then the body will be used for that, and it will be a healthy, as he says, a healthy, serviceable instrument for the mind's experience and expression in this world until its use is done, and then it's let go of, and it's no more. You let go of, when the vehicle's done, you don't need it anymore, then you let it go. You don't need a vehicle anymore. If you've come home, you don't need to travel anywhere. So you rest in the static, eternal state of peace, and the journey's over, and the vehicle's not necessary. The body's laid aside accordingly, and you remain eternally as you always have been, in pure formless awareness of perfect love. And there's no need, if you're in that state of mind, why would you choose another body? Why would you choose to come back and have another experience in a human life with a body that's just a vehicle that you realize has no intention, no will of its own? It's just designed by the ego to enslave your mind into a belief in separation and cause you endless pain and suffering and ultimately death. Why would you do that? You wouldn't. Once you know that the body is nothing and you're rooted in your true awareness, there would be no need for a body anymore. Do you see that?
Oh, yeah.
Which is how you free your mind from reincarnation. If you don't need a body and you realize that, why would your mind choose to come back into a body that it doesn't need? It sees no use and no value for. And that's how you free the mind from the cycle of birth and death. You choose not to come back because you perceive the delusion that involves. To come back means I have to perceive myself as a separate self. I have to perceive myself as a body, identify with the body, and I will suffer accordingly. I know that because I've experienced it enough times to know that suffering is part of the deal.
Plenty of people that do like being in a body, like the lady this afternoon.
Until it turns sour, and then it's like, oh, no, I don't like it so much because I'm suffering.
Yeah.
And she has pain. I'm sure she's experienced pain before. Well, okay, so what about that then?
Yeah, she's got fibromyalgia, so that can be painful.
There you go. So she likes the body pleasures, but then her body causes her pain as well. Well, that's a very dualistic world she's living in.
Yeah, she wants both. She wants to be in the spirit and the body.
No, she's choosing pleasure and pain, and he's saying, well, it's the same. You choose pleasure, you choose pain, because you're choosing the reality where pleasure and pain seem to be real, which is dualistic. So that's what she's doing by choosing pleasure. But she doesn't understand that because she hasn't had this kind of mind training. No one's told her. Well, hang on, that's a mistake.
Her mantras, I was saying to you, is just the word hope. As long as you've got hope, she said. And that's when I realized that's
desire. That's expectation and desire. It's like, oh, it'll get better sometime in the future. That's hope. Well, what that does subtly is deny the reality of now. I'm always hoping, then I'm always projecting myself into the future. So then I'm denying the reality of my true, pure, formless awareness of perfect love, my being now, by hoping. So it's a subtle denial of truth.
She's reading this all in the Bible. She said she's reading the Bible.
Yeah, but you interpret the Bible accordingly. You know, it's
Right.
like, yes,
Mm.
if you want to perceive it that way, you will perceive it that way. Remember that chap in one of the videos I shared who was obsessed with money. He was an entrepreneur in Zimbabwe.
Oh yes, with the shoes.
He was
Yeah.
like, oh well, the whole Bible is about money. I'm like, how can you say that? That's just a complete misperception.
Yeah.
It's seriously not just about money. There's a whole lot of, spiritual lessons and much deeper than money. Yeah, occasionally it mentions money, but it's certainly not the major theme. The Bible is about God and finding a relationship with God. Primarily, that's what the Bible's about. Not about money. And in fact, there are many passages where money is talked about as an illusion. Yeshua said, you cannot serve two masters. You cannot serve God and mammon. Okay, so what he's ignored that part. Obviously, you see, it's selective perception. He just ignores that because he doesn't want to see it. You see what you want to see. So she will perceive the Bible according to her thought system. Oh, well, it's all about hope. Okay, well, you're missing a whole lot of things that it's not. That it is, because you don't want to perceive them. And that's Yeshua's whole point. He's saying perception is not absolute reality. Perception is all relative. You're making it up as you go along. Perception is as you want it to be. Your wishes, your desires, your cravings, your aversions, your fears, that's what creates your perception. And you interpret everything accordingly, including the Bible. And then you go, oh, well, that's what the Bible's about. No, that's your perception of what the Bible's about. Let's be clear. It's not what the Bible's really about. It's your limited perception of what it's about. And then you're starting to get something. Okay, well, maybe my perception isn't correct. Maybe it's very limited. Maybe I could expand my perception. And then I could see a whole lot more in the Bible if she was open to it. If she went on a path of spiritual awakening, and started reading the Bible again in 5 or 10 years, she would go, whoa, like I was so confused before. I was seeing only hope. Now I'm seeing a whole lot more. It's just expanded hugely for me. I'm seeing, much more depth and richness because I'm gone deeper into myself. And so I perceive it according to who I believe I am. Okay. So number 2, did you do a summary, Elaine? I'm not sure you did.
I did, yes.
Yeah, you did do a little summary.
Yeah.
It's just neutral. It takes no sides. It has no mind. It will just, follow guidance. It'll follow our mind. Wherever we tell the body to go, that's what it'll do. So it's a worthy servant of an enlightened mind, or it becomes an instrument of hatred and attack and fear in the ego's perception and use of it. And then you see in people's bodies how their body looks, and the aging process and their health. That's a reflection of the purpose the mind has given it. Why do some people age very quickly? They get sick, they get old, they die. Others don't. Others stay younger much longer. Why? What's the difference? This is the purpose the mind has given the body. That's the reason. And then everything follows from that. You go, well, those people have looked after their bodies better, but that's a result of the purpose. If the body is a vehicle for the work of God, you should respect it because it needs to do, the work, the will of God. So you take care of the vehicle because then it's more functional. It's going to work better. And it's going to be able to serve that mighty purpose better. So then you look after the body, not because the body's real, but because you need it, temporarily to go around it, to take you on your journey. And if it breaks down, that's not helpful. But if you're using it for the ego's purposes of guilt and sin and attack and ultimately death, then the body will get sick, it'll age, it'll die much more quickly because that's the purpose you've given it. And that's all he's saying. You choose. It's the mind that gives it the purpose, all the purpose that it has. So it was made by the thought system of hate and fear and attack and death, but the Holy Spirit can reinterpret that all and use it as a vehicle for the expression of love and peace and joy and happiness in the world, if you allow it to be used for those purposes. And then it has its only true function, temporarily, of course, until you let it go. It's done its part, and then your mind just goes off into eternity, leaves the body behind forever. Okay. So shall we move on to number 3? John, if you can read that one in the alternative, please.
The thing I hate, fear, loathe, and want, the body does not know. I send it forth to seek for separation and be separate. And then I hate it, not for what it is, but only for the uses I have made of it. I shrink from what it sees and what it hears, and hate its frailty and littleness. And I despise its acts, but not my own. It sees and acts for me. It hears my voice, and it is frail and little by my wish. It seems to punish me, and so deserve my hatred for the limitations that it brings to me. Yet I have made of it a symbol for the limitations that I want my mind to have, perceive, and keep.
Okay, so
I think this is a good summary of what you've just been saying, really, Jono, that the body reflects where we're at, and if we're seeking to express negative things through our body, then they will manifest, and we will detest the manifestation because we don't like what they represent. So it's saying, the body hears our voice, reflects where our mind is at.
and if we can see that, it becomes quite useful, because it's a symbol then of the mind. Okay, so my body's sick, or my body's injured, or my body's aging, my body's whatever it's doing. Okay, it's a symptom of the mind. What am I thinking? What am I feeling? What am I believing? If we use it accordingly, it can be a means of awakening. It's why a lot of people, their spiritual journey starts with sickness. They get ill, and then they take stock of their life, and they go, okay, I need to make some changes, and they do some internal house cleaning, and they let go, and then okay, the body heals, because the cause, which was in their mind, has been released. So the sickness was necessary to show them the delusion that they believed in, and to help them let it go. And that's the only purpose of the sickness from the Holy Spirit's point of view. So it's there to show you where you're out of alignment with the Spirit and correct it. So you can heal that part of your mind that's being reflected in the body, in the sick body.
Yeah, makes sense.
So it's very useful then, from that point of view. It's another tool in the awakening. The Holy Spirit can, if perceived correctly, can help you to awaken. But misused, as he's pointing out here, it seems to punish you. So deserve your hatred for the limitations that it brings me. And so many people hate their body, they despise their body, they punish their body, delusions around the body are endless. because they haven't made peace in their mind, and they project all that disturbance of peace, dis-ease, into the body. Yeah, the dis-ease is projected into the body, manifests in the body, and then we call it disease. Just a projection of the mind. Okay, happy with number 3? Elaine, any questions?
Yeah, no, that's clear.
Okay, if you can read number 4 then.
The body represents the gap between the little bit of mind I call my own and all the rest of what is really mine. I hate it, yet I think it is myself, and that without it, myself would be lost. This is the secret vow that I have made with every companion who chooses to walk apart. This is the secret oath I take again. Whenever I perceive myself attacked, no one can suffer if they do not perceive themselves as attacked and losing by this attack. Every pledge to sickness is unslated and unheard in consciousness. Yet it is a promise to another to be heard by them and to attack them in return.
Okay.
Yeah.
What's he
Well,
saying there?
this is the, yeah, what, if you fall into the gap, the body is lost, hates itself, and it chooses to separate apart from all its companions. It's a sorry state of affairs, really.
The Secret Vow, which is the title of the whole section. This is the secret vow that I've made with every companion who chooses to walk apart. The secret vow is that without the body, myself would be lost. In other words, I would not exist. So I've identified with the body, and you've got a great lesson in that today with a client who was saying, well, no, I don't want to leave the body. I want to stay because I like the body. That's the secret vow she's made. To identify her mind with the body, to deny her source in the process, to maintain the separation, because if I'm a body, then I must be separate from all my companions who are bodies as well. The body is the instrument of separation in the ego's judgment, expression of separation. And this is the secret oath I take again whenever I perceive myself attacked. So I perceive myself attacked, identify with the body, or I'm a separate self that can be hurt and attacked, ultimately killed. And again, I make the oath. I am a body, and my mind identifies itself as a body, and that reality is what will ultimately kill me. That belief will ultimately kill me. But we can't see it. People are, and you just saw the demonstration of it. They just don't see it. They're like, hang on, what am I doing here?
She was very
What
religious.
I'm doing, I'm believing in a death wish. That's what I'm doing. This was ultimately going to kill me.
Yeah, no, she was very, very religious and very, the Bible was her life. She needed to talk to Auntie and myself about it. Yeah, and then when I heard her wisdom, well, I was a bit sort of stuck. I thought, because I said, yes, it's a good book, that Bible. But then when she started talking.
Elaine, sometimes you're very funny. It's a good book, that Bible. Yeah.
But then when she started talking, I thought, oh my goodness. It's not
There's not much understanding going on. Oh.
Yeah, it was quite amazing. So even though I didn't get paid for the work, it was certainly some lesson. It was worth it. Yeah, certainly.
Exactly. That's what it was for. It was like, okay, she came in to give you a lesson. Perfect, because we've just been talking about the split mind and the compromise approach, and trying to make both the mind and the body real. which is exactly then what you saw demonstrated. You go, well, okay, what Yeshua's saying is true. He's not just making this stuff up. This is how many people believe. This is what they believe.
Mm.
But if you've had this kind of mind training, you see through the delusion. You can't be fooled. You're like, that's just deluded.
Mm.
She's confused and deluded, and okay, she's your client. You don't tell her that.
No. That's forbidden anyway. You can't discuss politics or religion.
No, I mean, there's no point, because she won't believe you anyway. She'll just get
and she's
paying, get upset.
Yeah, and they're paying you to be relaxed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's there for you to do the internal correction and go, okay, but I can see that is a delusion, and that's not going to work.
Oh yes, I did pick that out. Yes,
the old system is a death wish. She's believing in a death wish and thinking that there's hope in a death wish. Okay, how deluded can you be to think there's hope in a death wish?
Yeah, she thinks the body's going to last forever and we can have it all together, spirit and body. So
okay,
that's the way,
there's no lost touch with the reality of this world. Everyone dies. Have you not noticed? Everyone dies. With one exception, as far as we know, Yeshua is the only person who resurrected. As far as we know, maybe there's a couple of others, but it's very rare. Otherwise, everyone dies. That's the 99.9999999% of human experience is that you die. So surely you can just see that, observe it, and go, okay, well, it's really obvious. The body leads to death. So let me not be confused and tricked by all the illusions of some kind of pleasure and some kind of hope in the body. It goes one way, and that's to death. But you see how strong the ego is. Doesn't want to see that.
No, she did certainly.
She's got another belief. The body's going to last forever. Okay, well, good luck with that one. And I'm not sure even if it could, you'd want it to. Would you going to live eternally? You're going to be an immortal?
Well, she said she just loves the pleasures of the body. She loves her food and being touched and all of these kind of things. She loves it.
She's got fibromyalgia, so she's also got pain. So
that's why she came to me.
Do you love the pain as well? Because that's what you have to then accept. Well, I love the pleasure and the pain. Oh no, I don't like the pain. I want to heal the pain, but I like the pleasure. Okay, but you can't have one without the other. That's that's what Yeshua's teaching us. So to be very grateful that you've got this teaching to guide you, because
she opened my
eyes. She's reading the Bible, but the Bible doesn't have this kind of very difficult to get this kind of wisdom from it. There is truth in the Bible, no doubt, but it's often hidden and buried, and it's not explicitly stated. It doesn't go into like chapter and verse and lesson after lesson and in-depth 670-page text explaining these spiritual principles. It doesn't do that. It's not nearly as comprehensive and consistent. It's also it was because it was written over something like 1,000 years, 600 to 1,000 years. Various authors have authored it with different understanding. So you get Old Testament fire and brimstone and a God of vengeance and wrath, who's clearly partial to one tribe, the Israelites, and is against the others. That's Old Testament stuff. And then New Testament comes along and totally different, a different kind of God, a God of mercy and compassion and unconditional love for everyone. Okay, well, which is true then? It's in the same book. Apparently, contradictory versions of God put together in the same book. So there's lots of contradictions for that reason. Whereas the Course is largely very consistent because it's one author coming through. Think of the amendments. There's been, I think in all our editing, there's been maybe 2 or 3 occasions when I've gone, okay, that's got to change. And we've just changed it because it was like, I think that's incorrect. Should have been edited out. But in hundreds of pages of text and lessons, it's logically consistent. You don't have to start going, oh, well, there's major contradictions, because there aren't. So it will come to be viewed as the new Bible, in my view. It was also stated in one of Gary Renard's books, His Disappearance of the Universe. He said, in 500 years' time, the Course will be much more universally acknowledged as the truth, and on the same level as the Bible, even higher levels of the Bible. But it's going to take a lot of 500 years for that to filter into humanity's consciousness. At the moment, it's still very embryonic. There's a couple of million copies, a few million people have had their lives touched by it. It's quite small. All right, so number 4, thoughts on number 4? Anything else you want to?
That's very clear. Very clear.
What is the secret vow that we've taken?
What the secret vow is the ego.
Yeah, okay. I mean, a bit more specific. So,
Well, we've just decided to walk apart and try and delude ourselves away from the truth.
yeah,
We're just caught up
I'm
in
a body. My secret vow is that I'm a body. I'm separate. I'm a separate self. Identify myself as a body, and without the body, I would be lost. So therefore, my secret vow is to maintain the body and my false identity and deny the truth.
Yeah.
And I take that oath again whenever I perceive myself attacked. So whenever you perceive attack and you feel hurt and wounded and victimized, you take the oath again. So there, I'm a body, I can be hurt, I'm separate. And that's why you've got to let go of those thoughts and emotions when they arise. Because if you let them go, then you're saying, no, I don't take the oath again. I will not vow to be a separate self here. I'm going to correct that misperception and remind myself that I am pure formless awareness of perfect love. I'm totally transcendent of this. This cannot hurt me or affect me in any way because I'm not a body. I am free. I'm still as God created me, to use one of our recent course lessons, which kind of summarizes, that I'm not a body, I'm free, for I'm still as God created me, is a great summary of the whole course. I'm free of the body. I'm not a body. I'm not identifying myself as a body. I'm still as perfect love extends me. Translated, I'm still as this loving awareness extends me. That's my true reality. That's my true identity. And the body has absolutely nothing to do with that loving awareness. So I can't try and reconcile body and mind and spirit, as many teachings try and do. Oh, well, there's the body, and that has its place, and then there's the mind, and then there's the spirit, and it's some kind of hierarchy, and it's all real. That's not what the Course is teaching us. It's saying only the mind and the spirit are real. The mind merges with the spirit and becomes one mind. That's the destiny of the mind, and lets go of its delusion that it's a body, and the body cannot then be real. So the body is the illusion, it's let go of, and we identify solely with our mind ultimately, and that's what the at-one-ment process is teaching us to do. Let go of the delusions of attack, of suffering, sickness, the promise to another to be hurt by them and to attack them in return. This is the secret vow we've made. So the promise to be a victim. And then victims can get vicious in return and attack and become the victimizers. And the game of victims and persecutors is the game that the ego loves to play. It's been doing it for millennia. and he's just exposing it here and saying, this is why human society, human history is a mess, because this is the kind of thing that's the ego is believing and has to then experience. Okay, any more thoughts on number 4? John, you good with that?
Yep, I'm good with that.
Okay, moving swiftly on. Doing well tonight. So number 5, you want to read that for us?
Sickness is anger taken out on the body so that it will suffer. It is the obvious effect of what was made in secret, in agreement with another's secret wish to be apart from me, as I want to be apart from them. Unless we both agree that is our wish, it can have no effects. Whoever says there is no gap between my mind and yours has kept pure form's awareness of perfect love's promise, not his tiny oath to be forever faithful to death. And this person's companions are healed by their healing.
Okay.
So it's saying here that the body reflects the degree of separation that we have, that we hold in our mind, and that it takes two people, it takes two people to agree to be separate. I think that's interesting, because if one person doesn't go along with that, then the separation cannot be. I'm interested that he says sickness is anger. I mean, sickness can also be resentment, grief.
Well, that's anger. Resentment is a form of anger.
Yeah, grief.
Yeah, and then there's anger because, well, I'm angry because I've lost. Something's been taken away from me.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay.
So it's an attack upon the body. It's really an attack upon the mind.
Yeah.
He says at some point, the body is a mask that just masks the true attack. The attack is really on our mind, but it seems to be happening in the body.
Yeah.
The sickness is a mask, but if we strip away that mask, we see that the attack is really on the mind attacking itself. It's being expressed in the body. So it will suffer pain and punish the mind for its sin and guilt. An expression of the punishment of the mind is suffering in the body. Which is why when Yeshua healed, he would always say, but your sins are forgiven you. And it worked, because people thought he was the Messiah. Oh, well, if the Messiah says my sins are forgiven me, then I must be free. And they really, felt that mentally and emotionally. And then there's a profound shift in the body state and its energy and its biochemistry, and then the healing happens. Oh, it's a miracle. No, you just help them to let go of negative energy, sometimes profoundly negative energy that become entrenched, and he was able to release them from it instantaneously, and then the healing happens, because it's all just energy. So as soon as the energy is gone, then the body corrects, and that can happen virtually instantaneously. There have been many examples, of almost instant miracles at Lourdes in France, where something like 70 odd miracles that are, bona fide, verified. They go and they get a full medical examination before they go into the water. They come out, they get examined again, and the condition that was there an hour before is gone entirely. Instant. How does that happen? Because the body is just energy, it's projection of the mind. So you change the energy, and the body being the manifestation of that energy changes and can happen instantly. if that shift in the mind is profound enough. Which then, that's what a miracle is. It's a profound shift in the person's belief and in their energy state, which then can manifest in the body instantly, which is how Yeshua would do his miracles when he healed lepers instantly. It's like a profound shift in the mind, the person's energy system. He facilitates that. It happens instantly and boom, healed. If you understand how it's done, then it's understandable. It's not a miracle. It's just this is how the laws of truth play out in the world. Okay, so anything else on number 5? What else is he saying there?
No, I think it's clear.
It says there's no gap between my mind and yours. Let's get pure formless awareness of perfect love's promise, not his tiny oath to be forever faithful to death. This person's companions are healed by their healing. So what he's saying is we must become the examples of this thought system of unity by denying there's any gap. There's no gap between my mind and yours. We are one. My mind is your mind is my mind. We are one in pure formless awareness of perfect love, which is our shared collective mind. And our job in this world is to stay in that state and deny any gap in mind. And whatever the gaps seem to be, that's all part of the illusion. And certainly let go of sickness, which is just anger taken out on the body. So when we drop sickness, we also drop the thought system behind it, which is why people find it difficult to heal, because you have to then go into the delusional thought system behind the sickness and heal it, and they don't want to do that. They'd rather have the sickness and maintain their delusion of being a separate self than let go of the delusion and heal the sickness. So then they look for magic solutions, go to a doctor or something and say, well, fix me. Heal my body, but don't heal my mind. Well, it's never going to work. That's why magic doesn't work. Okay. Does it make sense? Questions, comments on number 5?
No, it's good.
Okay, so number 6, last paragraph. And if you can read that.
Yeah. I will agree this with every person. I am one with and not separated from you. And they will keep the promise that I make with them, because it is the one that they have made in perfect love, as perfect love has made it to them. Perfect love keeps its promises, and its extension keeps its. In its extension, its source said, you are beloved of me, and I of you forever. You are as perfect as myself, for you can never be apart from me. Its extension does not remember that it replied, I will, although it was born in that promise. Yet perfect love reminds its extension of its promise every time it does not vows, does not share a promise to be sick, but instead lets its mind be healed and unified. Its secret vows are powerless before the pure formless awareness of perfect love, whose promises it shares, and what it substitutes is not its will, which has promised itself to pure formless awareness of perfect love.
Okay, so what's he saying there?
Well, down to our promise to perfect love and to share this with our companion, and we're not separate from anybody. And And perfect love always keeps its promises. They are, well, we are all beloved of each other, and that is forever. So you, the companion, are as perfect as me. And you can never be apart from me. Yeah, it's quite a lengthy paragraph. It's off with this secret vow again. It's secret vow. Vows are powerless. This is this promise that we've said that we're in that little gap separated. And we've filled that gap up with nonsense. It doesn't have to be that way.
Saying choose again.
Yeah.
Remember that you were created by your source, extended by your source. You're beloved of me, and I of you forever. You are as perfect as myself, but you can never be apart from me. And putting that awareness into words, that's what it's saying. And then its extension says, yes, I will. I am. Let's change that, I think. Instead of I will, I am. So the original name of God in the Bible, given to Moses in his burning bush experience, was I am that I am. He said to this presence, what shall I say? Who shall I say sent me? Just told him to go back and free his people. Who shall I say sent me? Tell them that I am sent you. There's the truth. It's the I am presence. I am source, that I am extension. As one, I am that I am. You see, the source and its extension unified in that statement.
Is he also saying at the beginning that when we unite with another, we actually trigger a sense of perfection in them because it reminds them of their initial contact with source?
Yeah, which sentence are you referring to?
Well, the first 1 and 2 actually. I will agree this with every person I am one with and not separate from you. And they will keep, and then number 2, and they will keep the promise that I make with them because it is the one they have made to perfect love. So is he saying here that when we are connected to another, they will respond appropriately because we are connecting them with source, with their own source?
Yeah.
Or reminding them.
Oh, okay. When we connect with them and in oneness, then we're both in the source. That's takes us back home to our source, which they then experience through the relationship. That's the holy relationship, which connects them with their source, perfect love.
So they may not be connected, but because we are connected, we connect them.
Yeah, well, they are connected. They've just forgotten.
Yeah.
They are, eternally. They've just forgotten it. So we remind them.
Yeah.
Our example reminds them, and they experience in the loving relationship with us. They experience the loving awareness that we call source, pure formless awareness of perfect love. So it reminds them of, and that's the whole purpose of the relationship, is to remind them of their source. That's what the holy relationship's all about. it reconnects both people in to their source and reminds them of who they really are. So it has no, no value in itself. It's just two bodies seemingly relating. Well, that's illusory. But when the mind unites as one in its source, then that's the at-one-ment through the relationship is happening. And that's what the purpose of the relationship ultimately is. That's what the holy relationship is. As opposed to the special one that says, I'm dedicated to be a separate self. I maintain my separate vow, my secret vow to be a separate self in a body, separate from you. Yes, I'll relate to you and we have some kind of, interaction and so-called relationship, but I maintain the vow to be separate from you and you from me. And so the relationship is then dedicated to maintaining the belief in separation. And of course, accordingly, you suffer. Accordingly, the relationship is characterized by fear and guilt and attack, revenge thoughts, and so on and so on, because that's the purpose that you've given it. Or is that clear? The holy relationship versus the special relationship.
No, it is, yeah.
And you see how it's all interwoven. I mean, this course is a masterpiece because saying, well, everything in this world, including a relationship, especially relationships, is designed to awaken the mind and bring you back into an awareness of your source. And I think this is the only teaching I've seen that does that relates everything in your life back to that one single purpose, including relationships, and has a special focus on relationships because he knows that your relationships, special relationships, are what get you time and time again to identify with the ego. So that's why we need to really hone in on them and correct a whole lot of misperceptions around it, which is why he spends 9 paragraphs in the middle of the course really talking about the holy relationship and this versus the special relationship. Okay, so anything else about number 6?
No, it's clear.
Yeah, overcoming the secret vows. I like that. So we've all made a secret vow to remain separate, to be bodies forever. The ego says, I will not return to source. I will remain in a separated state because I cherish my special identity. Therefore, I must remain a body forever. And you saw that belief very clearly in that lady. It's the secret vow she's taken to maintain the separation because she's actually terrified of letting that go because she thinks that's death. Then who would she be without her separate self and her body, which symbolizes the separate self? Or who you would be is pure formless awareness of perfect love, and you'd be blissfully happy eternally. That's who you'd be. You wouldn't have to deal with, the slings and arrows of outrageous fortune and fibromyalgia and bank cards, getting stopped, and none of that. So that's all collapsed and undone. So this is another wake-up call. He's saying, just understand what the body is, perceive it correctly, and let go of your misperceptions of it and your misuse of it, and then the body serves your awakening. The body will carry your mind around temporarily in the illusion and give you the experiences that you need to experience in order to awaken. That's its only real purpose, function. Okay. All good? Happy with that?
Yeah, all good. I'm just popping out for 5 minutes with the dogs. I'll just be 5 minutes.
Right. We'll carry on. So we're going to do the summary.
Yeah.
And then key message, and then close with the meditation if you want to, or you can just end it. You don't want to do another one. Okay?
Yeah.
See you now. All right, John, if you can read A personalized executive summary then. John, are you there?
Yeah, I am, yeah. I must realize that punishing my body is an insane act, as it has no will or preference to be what it is not. It merely behaves in the ways I want, yet doesn't make choices and cannot be responsible for seeing or hearing. I understand that it doesn't suffer from the punishment I impose, as it has no feelings and just follows the path that I've set for it. I recognize that my body doesn't know what I hate or want, and I despise it not for what it is, but for the uses I have made of it.
Just pause
Right.
there.
Yeah,
No, just pause. So I'll just summarize that. So what's he saying in this one?
by saying that our body is neutral and that we project our negative thoughts onto it, and it will reflect those thoughts, and we then further the illusion by hating the body for expressing our thoughts.
Yeah. The body becomes a symbol of the split mind, and symbolize all the weakness and frailty and the victimhood. And if we perceive it as real, we hate it, because it just symbolizes our dysfunctional separate self. And so then we seek to attack it and hurt it and make it suffer and ultimately die. But none of this is real. Because my body doesn't know what I hate or want. I do not despise it for what it is, but for the uses I've made of it. So put to an unholy purpose, then I will despise it, because it seems to be very dysfunctional, seems to enslave me, to victimize me, ultimately to cause me suffering, and ultimately to destroy me, kill me. But this is the use I've given it in the ego mind, so I can change that purpose, fortunately, which is what he's suggesting we do. Okay, so
Despite its seeming punishment, it's just a symbol of limitations I want my mind to accept. I acknowledge the body represents a gap between a fragment of the mind I call mine and all that is genuinely mine. Though I feel hatred towards it, it ironically serves me as a placeholder for my true identity. I perceive sickness as anger taken out on the body, manifesting pain. Yet it's an apparent outcome of a secret agreement made with another's hidden wish to be apart.
okay, so what's he saying here?
It's saying the body is merely a reflection of what we're thinking, really. And it's a reflection of our degree of separation.
Yeah, if you observe, people in the world, the state of their body, their health, is a very accurate reflection of the state of the person's mind.
Yeah.
The body's suffering, you see sickness or premature aging or whatever. It's a symptom of what's going on in the mind, and you can observe that very clearly. So this principle of it's just the anger taken out on the body, causing suffering. Anger taken on the body, manifesting pain. seemingly causing pain. But instead of people seeing the problem is the body, oh well, like the medical profession will go, oh well, the problem is you've got this and this and this condition. So in order to treat it, this is the prescribed solution, whatever it is. But they don't understand the metaphysics of sickness at all, unless they're starting to wake up. There are some doctors who start, understanding the mind-body connection, but they don't train this in medical school. They train them to just look at it mechanically, physically. Oh, okay, person's got this illness, so therefore, you need to do X to try and fix it, without any understanding of what the cause of sickness is. Well, it's not going to be a great healing system then, is it, if you don't even understand the cause of sickness? The sickness is anger taken out on the body. Okay, well, that's really the cause, and that's we need to, really help our patients to become aware of that anger and let it go, and that could lead to a lot of healing, rather than just focusing on the physical symptoms. That makes sense?
Yep, it's good.
Okay, anything else? Paragraph, and carry on.
No, I carry on. Yeah. By affirming there's no gap between our minds, I align with the pure formless awareness of perfect love, ensuring healing through unity. I commit to an agreement to be one with others and not apart, honoring the promises I made to my source, which is pure formless awareness of perfect love. Acknowledging that our wills are bound to it. Ultimately, I understand that my secret vows are futile against the unwavering, pure, formless awareness of perfect love, whose promises we all share.
Okay, what's he saying here?
He's saying that when we decide to align ourselves with pure, formless awareness, we unite with the oneness of others and bring about connection with them, and are able to let go of these silly or futile beliefs in separation.
It's on the face of the unwavering, pure formless awareness of perfect love. Promises we all share. Who's so it's all a bit pointless and futile. Like there's this, overwhelming, powerful awareness we call pure formless awareness of perfect love. That is reality. That's everything. That's unwavering. And you have these secret vows to deny it and maintain a separate identity and a body. And he's just saying, this is give it up. It's futile. Because you cannot ever win against the unwavering state of pure formless awareness of perfect love. So you may as well surrender and join it.
Yeah.
So then just the key message. Let's see if Elaine's back. Maybe she can read that. Elaine, you're back with us?
Yeah. Yes,
You
I'm
can
back.
read the key message to wrap it up.
Yeah. I recognize my body as a neutral entity that is unable to have any intentions or desires. It is merely a vehicle that allows me to engage in life in this world, yet I erroneously punish it, allowing it to symbolize mental limitations and my hidden agreement to be separate and suffer pain. by accepting my unity with others and acknowledging our shared divinity, I dissolve my belief in separation and honor our eternal shared being.
Thoughts on that?
Just to recognize this body is just neutral while it's in the world, and we have mistakenly punished it and allowing it to have mental limitations and allowing it to be separate and suffer pain when we don't have to. We can accept our oneness, acknowledge shared source, and dissolve this belief in separation and honor our eternal shared being.
Yeah, very beautiful.
Yeah.
Remain in that eternal shared being while we're still human. In that awareness, that's enlightenment. No attachment to the body, so you don't want to kill the body prematurely. There's no desire to do that, but likewise no desire to linger. I want to stay as a body because I like the body's senses, I like the pleasures the body gives me. You're over that. Like, well, when it's my time to go, it's my time. I think that's the most sensible attitude. I do my work, I correct my mind, I stay in my right mind while I'm here, continue doing my forgiveness or letting go, day by day, moment by moment, and when it's my time to go, then I go gratefully. It's graduation day. No need to linger. It means that I'm ready to leave, which you would give thanks for, because you're leaving an illusion to return to the eternal truth. It's way beyond all illusions. Okay.
Yeah, that's good.
Any other thoughts on this one?
Very clear.
Secret vow. Yeah, good.
Yeah, that's good.
It is. I mean, if you do the text like this, it is actually clear. Many people do it and they go, it's not clear at all. I don't know what he's talking about. But if you just break it down like this, and you do it systematically, and there's some translation, it is very clear. He's not. There's no ambiguity. There's no equivocation. And occasionally, he just uses language that's a bit somewhat difficult, but we just fix that with the translation, and then actually what he's saying is very, very clear, which is what he's designed it to be. It should be a very clear, simple, unambiguous teaching that's helping us to change our mind and heal.
Thanks, John.
Okay.
Yeah, very good.
So good. Say, do you want to do a meditation, or you both want to go off and?
Not for me.
Yeah, I'll probably give it a miss too. Yeah.
Okay. Well, we did a med earlier, so
Yeah.
Thanks for joining. Great session. Thanks, John, for joining. It's always good to be doing the text, and see you on Sunday. I hope Sunday evening. Our next session.
Yep, should be. Yeah.
We'll start at probably start at 7, but I'll just watch the messages in the morning. I'll let you know.
That's great. Thank you very much.
All right. Have a good weekend.
Bye.
You too.
Namaste.
Bye, everybody. Bye. Namaste.
Bye, Elaine. So thanks to John and Elaine for joining. Great session. Key message of that is let go of your secret vow to stay in a body, to says keep yourself separate and maintain the body identity, and let that go and realize that you're one with your brothers and sisters. So hope you learned that lesson, and hope to connect with you soon. Join us on Sunday for the session. There's a link below that will allow you to register for that masterclass, and you can also get some of the material I shared up front in the email sent to you on Telegram every day. And if you're not already a subscriber, then hit the subscribe button and subscribe to the channel. So I hope to see you on the inside. Namaste. It means the true self in me acknowledges and honors that same true identity in you. Peace.